from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's looking up the word bucolic. Though, like, if you're a parent, like you say, there's nothing bucolic about the word bucolic. So maybe we'll have to look up the etymology of that because you say, who came up with that word? Maybe means something. But this episode is about bucolic, dreams of bucolic things. I'll take that for dreams of bucolic things. I'll take that for 1,000. I can't think of what is turning off, for some people, turning off Sleep With Me podcast. Welcome to Sleep With Me. This is a podcast. It's a little bit silly. It's a little bit goofy. If you're new, I'm so glad you're here. Regular listeners, what up? What up, all fishes, all pets out there, all partners that are so sound asleep that we're so happy for. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Sleep With Me. It's a podcast that's here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so you could fall asleep. It kind of puts you to sleep indirectly. It's your friend in the deep, dark night. It is very different. It does take a few episodes to get used to, but give it a try. You got nothing to lose. I know because my sleep has shifted since I had to go to the East Coast, and I got a couple more trips coming up. It's weird, though. My sleep shifted later at this Pacific time. I don't know, man. So I know what it's like not being able to, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep. So I'm glad you're here. What we got coming up, the support, a few minutes of support, so the podcast is free for everybody. Then a long meandering intro separate from the sport that eases you into bedtime. And then a sport and then a bedtime story. It's going to be about the dreams of a character from the TV show Newhart. Kind of a part TV watch along and part, it's a new thing we're doing, so we're testing it out. And then there's thank yous at the end. So I'm glad you're here and appreciate you coming by. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. All right, everybody, this is a part of the show where really I'm not here to convince you to support Sleep With Me directly on Sleep With Me Plus. I don't need to convince you that part, right? You know that Sleep With Me is a part of your life. If you're a regular listener, you know it makes your life better. It's there when you need it in the deep, dark night. When things are really tough, it's something you turn to. And when you think about the other services you pay for, are any of those ones you turn to more than Sleep With Me? And do any of those services have thousands of episodes, ad-free, story-only versions, your favorites on locations, fearless flyers, all organized for easy listening? Are any of those services a part of your life, like your boyfriend is? You count on the podcast, and the podcast counts on listener support. And the hardest part of this whole thing isn't convincing you should pay for a free podcast. It's convincing you. It's getting the message across to you. Hey, could you do it right now? I know you're going to bed. I know it's not the best time. Or could you set an alarm on your phone and set it for whatever, 9 a.m. tomorrow? Go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And when you sign up, you should feel really good about it because you're guaranteeing the consistency of Sleep With Me, that it'll be there on the regular basis when you need it and when other people need it. And that's something our supporters feel really good about. They're a part of something special. And the way the special thing continues is because they're a part of it. And you could be a part of that too. And I know you want to. It's just a matter of getting over that little hump. That's been the hardest thing about keeping Sleep With Me sustainable over the years. It isn't that people don't want to support the show. It isn't that we don't have enough listeners. It's that we're so effective at putting people to sleep. It makes it tough to keep the show going sometimes. So if you really believe in Sleep With Me, if it's a part of your life, think about supporting it right now. sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Oh, Mr. Bart, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at us down. They're on the see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support your scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget, if you're looking for sleep phones, you can get those at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. And, yeah, that's it. I'm really glad you're here. And what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever is keeping you awake. It could be things on your mind, thoughts about the past, the present, the future. So things you're thinking about. Thinking stuff that keeps me awake. It could be feelings, anything emotionally related to those thoughts or feelings that are just there. It could be physical sensations. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine, work schedule. You could work a different shift. You could work one of those shifts. Like I keep hearing from people that work different shifts where you work a long time. And a lot of those are in care professions or transportation professions which need care. And then you have break and then you're trying to sleep and then you work. So, yeah, that's not easy either. Could be people that work the third shift or, shifts that I've invented, the 18th shift. And, I say, why can't there be 24? Why can't there be 48 shifts in a day? Someone from payroll would be like, do you realize now how much work you've just made for me inventing 48 shifts? And I'd say, yeah, I'm keeping you in business. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping you in business. A busy payroll person. The more shifts, the merrier. That's what they say at the great payroll. That's what they'll say. I don't think they'd ask me to speak at it, but maybe they could give me for inventing, because I've invented other ones too with letters. I say, okay, I don't know, what is there, 27 letters? Probably too many. Because I can't do the math on that. We could, 24 shifts, 48 shifts. I don't know. Whatever's keeping you awake. The reason I list some of that stuff is so you get a sense that you're not alone in the deep, dark night. Because for me and a lot of other people who listen, that's one of the things that makes it hard is how it feels in the deep, dark night. But that's not the case for everybody. But knowing that there's someone else out there who knows how you feel, who can relate, you might say, no, you don't know what I'm going through. You haven't been where I've been. I say, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I could probably relate to how it feels. And even if I can't relate, there's someone else out there listening right now, somewhere in the world, who has experienced something similar. And they can really relate to how you feel. And right now they're perking up in bed, kind of nodding in a loving way, welcoming you here and saying, really, I hope this podcast helps you as much as it did for me because I know how that feels. And not only that, they hope that one day you could do that and then be there for somebody else that needs it and be nodding and holding loving space for somebody. Because not only is it hard, you deserve a bedtime where you could get the rest you need. You deserve a bedtime where you don't have to dread going to bed, where you get the rest you need so your life is more manageable. And really, if you get the rest you need where your life is more manageable on a regular basis, maybe you get the rest you need so you could be out there flourishing. And that means the world we're in is better because your world's better. So what I'll do here, though, is I'll send my voice across the deep dark night. I'll use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, which means my voice is not traditionally soothing. And the structure of the show is a little bit brambled. I guess that's pretty accurate. It's a little bit brambled. Instead of a little bit it's a little bit brambled. That's hard to say, but it fits the sleep podcast. It's like a riddle I've never figured out, though. It's one of those riddles that doesn't tax you, though. You say, I'm not going to figure that. That's interesting. You know, what waves in the air, but rests its arms, but doesn't fly in the sky. But when it moves in the sky, I don't know, man. It's great. Maybe if I don't think about, that's cool, man. I'm a little bit brambled right now, so I can't figure out your riddle. Or it could be if I ever did get into having a booth at a Renaissance fair, like it could be riddles and I would need a partner who's good at riddles, or it could be rambling riddles and brambles, which would be bramble creation. I'm not exactly sure what a bramble is, but I'm pretty sure there's somebody. So I guess I wouldn't be good at anything. Yeah, maybe I'd just be the proprietor. And of course, I'd say malaise. Anytime the queen and her cohort, what do they don't call it that, but I'd say malaise instead of miladies. That's my way of saying malaise. Getting more usages of malaise. Riddles and bramble, a little bit bramble. Maybe is there something called, I've heard of brambleberry pie, but I'm pretty sure that was in a piece of fiction. But if there's brambles, there's probably berries. But I was saying that maybe there'd be a shop. It would be more of a booth or a stall. Riddles and brambles. So bramble-based creations, bramble-based art. I'd have a bramble artist. That wouldn't be me. It's just not. I'm just not capable of most craft. I'm not a crafty person. And riddles, I'd feel like it was not being clear if I called the shop Riddles and Brambles, because my riddles are not good. Then Blaine the Train would not. Blaine the Train would not enjoy my riddles. Blaine the Train's a big riddle fan from fiction, but it wouldn't. I'm not good at that. So it's just an ideal. I guess it's a fantasy. You say, like, I guess I could say that. Where are the riddles and the brambles, sir? Oh no, this is a fantasy. I'm in a fantasy realm, so my shop has no riddles or. It's just called a riddle bit I used to be called a riddle bit bramble. Now it's called riddles, and this year we're calling it riddles and brambles, which I guess is more confusing because we have no riddles or brambles. It's an idealized fantasy shop. I do sit here, and it's not going great. I'm good at thinking up names for stuff and saying I only did it so that hopefully the queen would walk by and I could say malaise. Or whatever else you're supposed to say. But then they changed her routes specifically because, the parade never goes by this. She doesn't walk by here at all. So it's not going great. But actually, believe it or not, I'm in the middle of introducing a sleep podcast. So I don't have more time to describe my fantasy-based shop. Sir, I don't think you get the idea of fantasy realm. I guess maybe I'm misusing it. Maybe it's a fantastical realm, a fantastically named shop that sells nothing. Actually, it's just something I accidentally said in the start of a sleep podcast when I was trying to describe pointless meanders and superfluous tangents. So job done. That was a pointless meander and a superfluous tangent, which means I go off topic, I get mixed up, I never get to the point, then I go on and on and on about it. So this is a podcast, believe it or not, you just barely listen to. I think you could figure that part out. Kind of like background noise or TV on in the other room. And then it's also a podcast. I'm not really here to put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep. To be your boyfriend, your borbay, your borsib, your borbuzz, your borbud, your borbestie, your bors, your borbie, your neighbor, your borber, your borbra, your boyfriend, your borbestie, BFF forever. And what that means is there's no pressure to fall asleep with this show. The reason the episodes are over an hour is so you go, oh, I got plenty of time. There's over 600 episodes ready to go. So you could say, oh, okay, I'll just fall asleep when I fall asleep. I'm here to keep you company because there's people listening during the day that need a break and people that just can't sleep at all. And that's kind of where the invention of the podcast came from, is me just talking to people with the intention of, like, you could fall asleep, but you don't have to. Like, I'll be it's just a history of being barely interesting and barely entertaining. It's the truth. I have half ideas. I mean, riddles and brambles is not bad. It's just, it's not good. It's not fully formed either. And I think a riddle bit bramble is even better, but you say, I don't understand what I'm going to that shop to buy. And you say, I don't know. I guess, like, here's what they would say at the Renaissance Fair, and maybe this is my role. That's where the town FOOL lives. It's his shop, but he doesn't know it. He's unwittingly, he just is. Like, because we know it, he doesn't need to know. We don't actually use that term here. But yeah, that's how it works. He's not like, we have a jester. That's a paid position, but he's, he's a natural. Like, he's not a jester. A jester's like a career path, that's a trade, but he just is. But we don't, we enjoy his presence. Generally, Queen doesn't, maybe the next queen will like being called part of Malays, but she said, if you heard it once, you heard it enough. Okay, what was I saying? Oh, no pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here plenty of time to keep you company while, and then you just wake up tomorrow and you go, oh, wait a second. What was he talking about? I thought he was going to be talking about the TV show Newhart. And then he opened, I don't know, he was talking about I know he was talking about Brambleberry pie. And then, but so that's, what else do you need to know? I was going to look up some word, which I already forgot, but it's luckily I got a phone. But what else do you need to know? Structure of the show definitely throws people. Oh, here's the thing I forgot to tell you already. Most people loathe me. I mean, you might be chuckling now. And you say, like, just like at the Renaissance Fair, it's kind of like that, but a stronger version of that. And it makes sense. For a few reasons. One, if you've been looking for a podcast to put you to sleep, you're probably a little bit grouchy. I would be, I have been. And then you're confused because you get here, maybe somebody told you about the show or you searched for it or you read about it. And then you say, what in the fifth realm is this? You say, whoa, how many realms are there? I'd like to know. But you see, what does he even know what Malays is? And I say, I don't know. I just know that it sounds natural. If you say Malays, my queen, Malays. So you could do that. You could bring your own bring your own Renaissance festival, your spirit of the Renaissance festival, wherever you go internally. That'll be in one of my books that I'll never write. I bring a Renaissance fair wherever I go. I actually don't because I never remember. I'm so focused on what I'm worried about, interacting with people. If I'd know that, maybe I'll just sit in Malays. I'm sorry, what'd you say? Just so comfortable here. I'm going to be doing some active listening to you. And, I just, there's something in my mouth. So I had to say, I always say Malays, to get it out of my mouth. Did you say Malays? Oh, no, yeah, because I brought chips to the party, and I saw somebody put their hands on them, and then I had to remind myself I brought them for everyone. They are not my lays. Anyway, back to you. Can you tell me, I don't know, this could solve all my problems except opening the sleep podcast. So most people do not like me or the podcast when they get here. I'm just telling you that, to be clear. It does take a couple times to get used to the show, but there's like a lot of people who support the show directly who loathed me. And then they said, oh, I get it. This is not an act, or he's not buying time here. This is the podcast, or part of it. And this is, these are pointless meanders and superfluous tangents. He is really here to keep me company and take my mind off stuff, to be my friend. That's not really that interesting, but is barely engaged. He was serious about that. But it never happened. It happens like that slowly. Now, there's some people, probably most people, who never will listen to the show again. And I do have a website set up for you, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. Has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there. So you still can find something to put you to sleep. So there's that. Structure of the show I still got to talk about. Man, I'm going on and on. Let me just do quick then. Bucolic. It's from the Latin bucalis, or something. Rustic pastoral meter used by pastoral poets, literally pertaining to cowherds. Bucolic scenery. Bed and breakfast, that's kind of why inns are called bucolic. Pertaining to herdsmen or peasants, bucolic. Oh, so maybe it was a little bit of jerks might have said it back in the day. But anyway, not important. I just wanted to know what that word was. Okay, so structure of the show also throws people off. And great news, when you're listening to this, we have even more options now to adjust how you listen to the show, but show is really designed, I don't know, most people listen to this version of the podcast linearly, but you don't have to. But I would say give it a few tries like this and then adjust, because this is very intentional. It's just what we've learned over the years of making the show. So the show starts off with the greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So if you'll see and you say, okay, I might check that podcast out. Then there's support, so the show can be free for everybody. Then, and if you don't like it, if you want an ad-free version, you could get that through Sleep With Me Plus, through Apple Podcasts, or through our referral program for free, just referring people to the show. Then there's a long meandering intro, which is separate from the supports, which we're like 18 minutes into, where I try to introduce the podcast that I've made for over 1,200 episodes unsuccessfully, and it takes me 20 minutes. But it's like different. It follows the same structure every time, but it's different every time. That's just one of my theories, is like keeping it different every time, but familiar. You have some reassurance, but whatever part of you keeps you awake. I mean, I had no idea. We've definitely talked about stuff we've never talked about here before, but also familiar themes, like me being at a Renaissance fair unsuccessfully. That theme comes up every like 80 episodes probably. So there's that. What was I saying? Like structure show. But the intro, when people get really upset about the intro, they think it's like part of the sponsor stuff, or that it's gratuitous. And I guess it is gratuitous in the sense that it's here to just ease you into bedtime. Some people do fall asleep to it. Some people skip it. No longer do you just have to skip it. You can listen to Sleep With Me bedtime stories. It's everywhere in every podcast app now, or bedtime stories from Sleep With Me, I think it's called. But the intro is just meant to ease you into bedtime as you're getting ready for bed, as you're chilling out, getting comfortable, winding down. That's what works for me personally most of the time, and what's been shown to work most of the time. It doesn't work every time. So that's why the intro goes on and on and on. Then after the intro is support, and then after that will be our first time doing this Newhart, Dreaming of Newhart, or Newhart's Dreams. I don't know. It's definitely going to be called style show that I'm excited about an old sitcom or sitcom. Would that hurt the sitcom's feelings? It's a sitcom from like the 80s, I think. I don't know if the first episodes were in the 70s. No, the 80s to the 90s. I'm pretty sure, yeah. And then there'll be thank yous at the end. So this is structure show. That's why I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. I work really hard on this show. It was sort of a team of people. And we all yearn and strive and really hope we can help you fall asleep. But thank you again for coming by. And here's a couple ways we get to do this for you twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Most of you aren't just listening right now. You're driving, cleaning, and even exercising. But what if you could be saving money by switching to Progressive? Drivers who save by switching save nearly $750 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Multitask right now. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. Everybody, Scoots here. This is welcome to a new TV recap style and series. And this is something I'm excited about, and it's something we've never done before, and I love how this kind of came organically to us, and so I'm excited to introduce our new series. What is it? I'm not sure the name of it yet, because it'll be a while until it comes out. Dreaming of Newhart, or Newhart Dreaming. I think Dreaming of Newhart's pretty good, huh? So what we're going to do here is, I guess I'll explain. Maybe I should go into a long explanation just for everybody, since this is the first episode. And we'll kind of see how this develops and go from there. A lot of you, since the strikes, we've had, recorded an entire series of Great British Bake Off before the strikes happened. And then we kind of let those sit through the strikes. And then during the strikes, it just became a thing where I was like, we've just had a gap in doing a regular series for sustained time. In the recording side, I mean, on the release side, it wasn't that long ago we put the Great British Bake Off episodes. And so, I kind of been trying to figure out what we're going to do and just kind of letting it happen because we're a little bit boxed in with the strikes and had to adjust on the fly. And those are good things, right? Some of the changes from the show come from creative constraints. And so at some point, not that long ago, so I'm recording this, it is May 2024. You'll probably be hearing this in August 2024. And at some point, I think probably even this month, maybe last month, I was thinking about it. And one show that came up every once in a while, that's not actually accurate, one comedian, Bob Newhart, has come up, it's connected to the show every once in a while as an indirect influence of the show because and so that's something that's honestly a subconscious influence of the show. Because as an adult, I didn't watch a lot of Newhart or Bob Newhart or Newhart stand-up. But as a kid, I guess I watched some of this version of Newhart, which was Bob Newhart's second sitcom. And I'll read through the Wikipedia article on it, but his humor is pretty similar and his cadence and stuff to the show, in a sense of well, boy. And it was mentioned to me before I even realized it. And I said, well, I didn't like it really intensely even watch Newhart. I was not even probably allowed to watch it till like towards the end of the show's run. But I do remember watching it. And then probably from there on, I probably saw Bob Newhart a lot more on like late night television shows, being interviewed. And I will say that Bob Newhart is a brilliant comedian and pretty darn good in a sitcom. And yeah, there's just something similar, like dry humor. I guess Sleep With Me has a lot of dry humor. It also has this kind of dull pacing that makes the dry humor work. And so I don't know, like I was always like, I'm going to have to like really sit down and watch some Newhart personally, unrelated to podcast content. And so that was like, man, I should watch some Newhart. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch it for the podcast. I wonder, but it's a sitcom, but there's a lot of episodes. And then there's the Bob Newhart Show, which came before Newhart, which I have not. I've probably seen a couple episodes, but not real. I never really watched this before my time. But so I was like, what sealed the deal? It's like, okay, maybe I'll watch some Newhart. I don't know about the podcast, but then I remembered just recently, this is in the last month or 2 months, that, so I'm trying to think so some finale of something else, and I can't think of what it was, but it reminded me that when for the conclusion of Newhart, they did this pretty, now while the idea has been used before, I think it was a pretty unique idea, the way they delivered it. And I did not watch it when it aired. I haven't been able to find it, even though in the U.S., the entire season of entire series, except for the finale, and the finale may be there, I just can't find it, is on Prime, available for streaming, and probably you could watch it other places. So the interesting thing about the finale, because it was a big deal then, because back then it was like water cooler television when people would talk about a show and its finale, because there wasn't, believe it or not, there wasn't, you couldn't like watch TV when you wanted to. You had to watch it when it was scheduled, and if you missed it, you missed it, and then people would just tell you about it. Maybe one time you would see a repeat or it would be syndicated, but that would be a long time down the road. Now, good question that just came up in my brain. When I was watching Newhart, was it syndicated or was it on its original run? I don't know the answer to that. And syndicated probably would make more sense, but I don't know the syndicated history. What does syndicated mean for those of you? So syndicated meant, which is kind of like we're seeing a resurgence of it in a sense, in a different format. So right now, the most popular shows on streaming, or two of the most popular shows, we'll just say, are Suits and The Office, right? And I think, and I think most people know that, they're just really successful shows on streaming. And they actually have been for the last, since 2019, 2020. Maybe even before that. And so it's like people have kind of found them after their runs on television. I don't know a lot about Suits. I haven't seen it. I have seen The Office. And but so that was on streaming, right? But when it was syndicated, it was very similar, but it was just at a station, probably not a major station. This is very confusing. I get it. Whether it was on cable or broadcast, which meant over-the-air antenna television, they would buy the rights to Newhart, we'll say, and then they would run it. Okay, Newhart every night at 7 p.m. or whatever. Or if it was a channel like Nick at Night, would seem like maybe Newhart's too recent for that, but I don't know. They'd say, oh, yeah, every day at 2 p.m. is Newhart. Now we have stuff like Pluto TV too, which I don't know who owns the rights to Newhart. But that's almost similar to over-the-air TV in the sense that those are like syndicated channels of just one content. Like I've talked about, my dog Co watches, and people think I'm making this up. She watches The Addams Family pretty much exclusively. As far as I know, there's only 2 seasons of The Addams Family. And so I'm slowly becoming acquainted with every episode, but not like sitting down and watching it. But Koa does whenever I'm not going to be there for a little while. And I think it's similar. There's something reassuring to Koa about the Addams Family. Probably that's like, this is just what this is exactly like my regular life with this guy. And I think the same goes for Suits or The Office is like, or anything unsyndicated. I don't know why I'm talking about that. I just don't know when I saw Newhart. But yeah, let's pull up the Wikipedia page, huh? And like, let's get some actual Wikipedia facts. Except this iPad is like offloaded every app. The old broken iPad is what I'm calling it up in. I don't even have Chrome on here right now. Oh wait, I never explained what the finale was. That was talk about superfluous tangent. Sorry about that. Oh boy, Scoots. This is Pure Slip Podcast, huh? Okay, so on the finale of Newhart, not the Bob Newhart show. I don't know what happened because I don't know, but at some point, like there was some sort of story, right? Situational comedy, but it was resolved because it was going to be the final situational comedy. I think the town, like an inn and all that changed. But then at the end of the episode, he woke up and it was all a dream from the Bob Newhart from the previous show. He was in bed with his wife from the previous show. And I think he was like, I just had the strangest dream. I ran an inn in Vermont. So let me read through the Wikipedia thing here. Newhart is an American television sitcom, CBS. So that would mean it should be on Paramount Plus. Maybe, I don't know. But 82 to 90. Okay, so I probably saw it in 90. I could have seen it between 88 and 90. No, not 88. But yeah, maybe 89, 90, maybe 88. Maybe even 87, I may have seen it. It's 184 half-hour episodes, 8 seasons. Stars Bob Newhart and Mary Fran as an author and wife who own and operate the Stratford Inn in rural Vermont. It's like the finale was named one of the most memorable in television history. And the premise is introduced in the favorite thing. The actual outside is the Waybury Inn in East Middlebury, Vermont. So we don't need any of that. Let's see what else we could use. Henry Mancini does the theme music. Oh, that was going to come up, though. Yeah, episodes are about 20 to 24 minutes, which, again, when I think about that, I'm like, okay, this is good for the concept we have. Originally, I couldn't do it because 22 minutes just wouldn't be enough to fill an hour. But we got this extra idea. So Bob Newhart, Mary Fran, and Tom Poston. George, he plays George Utley. Mary Fran plays Joanna. Dick is Bob Newhart. Loudon. Who else? Leslie. So Jennifer Holmes plays Leslie Vanderkellen. Steve Kopman plays Kirk Devane. And I think those are the only characters we've met before. Let's see what else. Yeah, so they talk about the last Newhart. Oh, I guess I could search for that one. And there's a lot about the finale. Oh, in 1991, they were reunited in a primetime special. And Bob Newhart hosted Saturday Night Live, so I probably saw that. Let's see. Newhart was always a solid ratings winner, finishing its first 6 seasons in the top 25. It wasn't in the finished top 30 for the last 2 seasons. But CBS was satisfied with it enough to give it a 9th season in 1990. But Newhart declined the offer, and then he did do another show called Bob. Oh, that's funny. For 2 seasons in 1992. Let me just look up. Let me just give you a little bit about Bob Newhart, so those who aren't familiar. And then we'll go into the concept for the season, the series. So Bob Newhart, 1929, American comedian, deadpan, stammering delivery style. So maybe that's what it is. Started as a stand-up, then went into television, and has won numerous accolades, including Mark Twain Prize. 1960, he had a record album, The Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart. And that was an album. So let's just look and see if I can listen to that album on streaming here. Let's see discography. They just have the best of Bob Newhart and Off the Record. But anyway, that was a #1 album. It reached #1 on the pop album chart. And it's the 20th best-selling comedy album in history. Then there was a follow-up, which was also a success. Then Newhart hosted an NBC variety show called The Bob Newhart Show. And then from 72 to 78 starred on The Bob Newhart Show. Well, he was psychologist Robert Hartley. I did not know that. That's interesting. And then in Newhart, 82 to 90, then Bob and George and Leo were 2 other sitcoms, definitely in movies. Oh, most prominently Elf. He was also in Disney's The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under, also on Big Bang Theory, Professor Proton. That was where he got his first Primetime Emmy Award. He's from Oak Park, Illinois. And there's a lot more about it, but I think that's a pretty good start. Okay, so what we're going to do here. So basically, I want to be clear as possible. What we're going to attempt to do is pretend this is very similar to TV recap episode, but taking the concept from the finale as fact, or as creative fact, but as fact in the sense. So we're going to be looking at each episode, maybe in an interview format, as a dream from it would be Bob Newhart's dream, or whatever his name was, Robert, was that? I can't even remember now. What was that show? Robert Hartley's dream, I guess. So Bob Hartley's dream. And so each one of those will be a dream from Bob, who I know nothing about. So we're going to be learning about Bob through Bob's dreams. In each episode, we'll cover one dream, and we'll kind of go through the details of the dream. Bob is a very detailed dreamer. So we're lucky to have access to these dream recordings, or they so powerful that they created a sitcom based on his dreams. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to work with like a little chatbot I'm trying to create, like an AI chatbot that will help us interpret the dreams. And then I kind of will go through, hey, what did you come up with this dream of this guy? And we'll go from there. So the first episode we're going to watch is the pilot, which is called In the Beginning. And again, this is all a conversation based like a parody satire recap of the episode, Newhart, season 1, episode 1 in the beginning. So this is just a TV recap discussion. This is not something I'm imagining. I mean, I'm only imagining the way I'm talking about him. So, okay, Bob, come on in, and we're going to be talking about your dreams here. And my name's Scooter. It's nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you, Scooter. And we'll be doing this dream work. I'm excited. I've heard you're quite the dreamer, and I'm glad you're coming in. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about the dream you had last night to start off our session? Okay, well, I have some notes from the dream, but then I also can access my memories of the dream too. Does that sound good? That does sound good. Okay, so like it starts off, I'm like flying over the countryside, and there's a town. It's picturesque. There's trees. There's barns. There's a road. There's a pond, a boat, maybe even a covered bridge. But there continues to be a road and the same car. The car goes through the town, and it's very rustic and bucolic, but it's a lone car on the road. And eventually it goes through a small town, and the car slows and turns. Brown car. I know you're going to ask that. And we see a white building with black shutters called the Stratford Inn. 1774. It has a sign outside. And at the top it says 1774. Then it says Stratford Inn in kind of cursive writing. And then there's a carriage drawn on the bottom side. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, and we'll talk more about your dream. Then what happened next in the dream? Well, then I can see the inside of the inn, right? And there's like it's kind of in a state of disarray. There's drop cloths. Someone tries to open the door sticks, which is a recurring theme in the dream. I'll just tell you. Then there's a laughing real estate agent. He's laughing. He's a little bit uncomfortable. He's very tall. And he has a bow tie. And he asks us in. He says, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm with my wife in the dream. I have a dream wife. I have a wife. It's different than my normal wife. But every dream that I dream of my wife, I dream of a different wife. Okay, well, I'm just listening right now. We're not interpreting anything. That's interesting, though. In the dream, we start talking about the inn. We're looking at buying the inn. He's talking about that James Madison lived there. He stayed in the inn, so we'll know things about James Madison we never knew from a book. My wife's not sure about it. She's very skeptical about the inn. And, I can see her skepticism because it doesn't look very nice on the inside. Now, then we talk about a caretaker for the inn. George Utley's his name. Him and his family have taken care of the inn for a long time. And I asked my wife what she thinks about it. She says she likes it, but I know she's not telling the truth. And she says she does like it. She's not excited about it. We're disagreeing about how she feels. But she's trying to tell me she's excited, but her face says she isn't. And then I said, why don't we just forget the idea? We don't have to buy it in. We'll just say we came up here for a drive and fresh air. But we've put down a $2,000 deposit, so it would be like a $2,000 lunch. And she says, that's not realistic, honey. In the dream, my name is Dick. Dick Loudon. She's Joanna. Then George comes in. The door sticks yet again. He's also tall, not as tall as the real estate agent. He's got a red hat on, overalls. And he wonders if he's going to lose his job. And I say, no, we're still going to need somebody to help. I But then he asks for a raise, and I tell him straight up, no, why would I give you a raise? Then he tries to show his expertise. He calls something with the furnace a doohickey. That's what he's working on, a doohickey inside the furnace, by the door, under the screen. And the real estate agent just listens to but I'm like, I guess, should I be impressed or should I be? And my wife says, let's just go ahead and do this. And I say, yeah. She says, yeah, I have my doubts, but because we're from New York and we have a lot of friends. She's got a lot of life. She's involved in a lot of different causes. The real estate agent tries to say, we got causes here. Then I'm used to writing in my apartment. She says, you're used to writing in our apartment. And the real estate agent says, if you can't write here, you can't write. And we laugh. Then she says, there's a lot of repairs this place. We don't know how to repair things. Real estate agent says, well, that's true. But I have written books. That's when in my dream, I'm a writer of how-to books. Excuse me, Robert, could we just agree that just treat everything as reality? You don't have to keep telling me it's a dream. Okay, I'll do that. So then I try to close the deal with my wife, and I say, look, there's a million reasons not to get this place. Most people wouldn't do this, but that's maybe why we should. We're standing on the threshold of one of the great adventures of our lives. She's still skeptical. We have a rare opportunity to pursue a dream. We just have to have the courage to say, let's go for it. And she says, that's familiar to me. Where have I heard it before? And I said, well, it's the opening of my book, Build Your Own Patio Cover. Every once in a while, people will laugh in my dream, like they're laughing at my jokes or other things, or clap. But she tells the thing, Mr. Schaefer will take it. Right after that, George runs down the stairs. You didn't buy the place, did you? Oh, never mind, he says, like he was going to tell us something. No big deal. Then another segment of my dream starts... where she's in a blue sweatshirt. She's cleaning the inside of the fireplace. It's looking better and better. I bring out a thing of stuff, a box of stuff. And I feel like I'm on a treasure hunt, but she's working hard. And I don't want to switch jobs. I'm actually enjoying it. The inn's starting to look a little bit nicer. And then the door sticks again. George is there he says, remind me to fix that. He fixed a shutter that he broke when he was trying to fix something else, and he broke a window. So I'm starting to wonder how reliable this George is, And, he says, yeah, I was trying to clean it. What do you want me to do next? And my wife says, fix the front door. He says, what's the matter with it? She goes, it sticks, dude. Holy moly. Oh, yeah. So he goes to get some equipment to fix the door. It sticks again. And sometimes I get the sense that whatever is outside of the inn isn't real, but I don't know. That's just a sense. Then the door sticks yet again as two people come in, a couple. And we say, hey, what's up? And they say, hey, are you open? We say, no, we're not. I say, we're not open. My wife says, yes, we are. But so I say, okay. He says, how much are your rooms? And I was, no, how much are our rooms? We're not open. But I look in the old ledger. John Hancock's writing is in the ledger, but that doesn't stick out to me, or I just deflect it as a joke. Oh, yeah, because he says, how much? And I say, that'll be a farthing, which I don't even know how much a farthing is worth. I laugh. My wife says, how about $40? And they say, that's too much. She says, how about 20? And they say, yeah. And the couple is breathless. And I say, sign in here. And it feels like a bed and breakfast. I don't know if we'll serve breakfast. We're an inn, not a bed and breakfast. They're Mr. and Mrs. Pomerantz. My wife says, don't worry, I'll be upstairs to fix some stuff up soon. And it's our first $20. Yeah, don't worry. We're going to get this figured out. I keep trying to reassure my wife of my fears that this isn't going to work. And that we won't have any money left over. But she, just encourages her thoughts. Then the door sticks yet again. And a man comes in very comedically. He's in a blue sweater, dress pants. He says, yeah, that wasn't very smooth. But he goes, I want you to know I'm not just some slick dude coming in here. Kirk Devane's the name. Running a gift shop's my game. Happy, thrilled to meet you, Kirk says. Minuteman Shop and Souvenirs and Cafe. He said, this is going to be great for both of us. We're going to be neighbors and friends. He knocks on the table, but he says that he's a habitual liar. This is within 5 minutes of our first conversation, and he's telling untruths. But he says he's working on changing it, that he has help, but then he says he's lying about having the help. But I think that's fine. Well, so in the dream, it's like the 1980s, but it feels like a little bit like the 1970s. The phone rings. I answer it. It's Mr. Pomerantz. And he says, what's going on down there? What's the weather? I say, well, tonight it'll be 30 degrees, freezing rain, wind. He says, we don't got a window in our room. I say, interesting. Let me look into that. I'll ask George Utley, and we'll get it fixed. Don't worry. No trouble at all. And he says, don't worry about it. Hang up the phone. There's a lucky horseshoe behind my desk. Kirk says that's fascinating. But he was talking to my wife about how I wrote a book, The Joy of Tubing, and Know Your Harley. My wife's very, very proud of me in the dream. The phone rings again. It's Mr. Pomerantz. He says, there's no heat in our room either. I said, double check it, man. Could be because you don't have a window. But he says there's no radiator in our room. I say, well, in New York City, we got radiators. I don't know what they have in Vermont. I'm learning my way. Behind me is an empty space, which one day will become like one of those things you see in the movies, full of cubbies and hooks for keys to rooms and mail. I take the phone off the hook, and Kirk says he's bored. I'll drop by and see you another time. And he says, maybe you get 10% discount at my store, or maybe not, your guess. The door sticks yet again. And he leaves. My wife says, maybe you could get used to him. I say, I'll take that bet. She goes to get linens. Then she says, hey, we need to hire some other help here. And I say, yeah, I will. But I don't know how we're going to pay for it. I think alone. The door gets stuck yet again. And George comes in. He says, I got my plane. Which door do you want me to fix? And I say, buddy. I give him a look, a long look. Then I'm in an office. The dream has changed yet again. Now the office looks pretty good. I'm in a jacket. I'm interviewing someone named Leslie for a job working at the inn, helping. She's going to help with cleaning and preparing. And she says she wants to get experience as an average person in the real world. She comes from privilege, money, cars, clothing, schooling. She's just finished one degree, and now she's working on her graduate degree. She seems overqualified, and she says she doesn't even have a chance of getting the job, but she says she worked really hard. Degree in European history, Dartmouth is in Renaissance Theology Masters. And she wants to become a member of the U.S. Olympic ski team. And I say, perfect. It's like a dream. I'm going to say yes. So my shirt's open, many buttons open. My chest is hairier than I perceive it to be in the dream, but I'm not so sure about that. I wear a gold chain around my neck, but I can't quite see what's on the end of the chain. There's old books on my desk. Kirk comes in to return some stuff he's taken without permission from the inn over the years. The first thing he takes out is a strange piece of metal. Looks like some sort of foot measuring device. He puts it in his jacket. He introduces himself to Leslie as Kirk Douglas. She's Leslie Vanderkellen. And I tell her, he doesn't tell the truth, by the way. So just be aware of that. Moving forward, You're not Kirk. He says, well, maybe I'm not Kirk Devane. Maybe I'm not Kirk Douglas. Dear, oh dear. Joanna comes in, my dream wife, Now, I guess I'll just call her my wife in dreams, since she meets Leslie. She says hi to Kirk. I say, Leslie's hired. She's going to work in and live here. Wonderful. And I can have George show you around, or Kirk volunteers to show her around. And he says, oh, I'm studying the same, I'm an expert in the same things you are. Say hello to fate. My wife says the DWI called, and I say, who's the DWI? She says the Daughters of W Independence. They heard the inn was opening. They're booked 12 rooms for next weekend. I say, we're not ready for it. Why would they even want to stay here? I have many doubts. She says their family stayed here in 1775 in the winter. And I said, we don't have any experience. How can we host people? And she says, that's a lot of money. It is like $500 at least. And she goes, we already spent a bunch of money to fix up the Pomerantz room. And he says, okay. He goes, well, I wanted to restore this inn, not just make money off it. And she lets me express my doubts and says, okay, if you feel that strongly, I'll tell them no. But you were supposed to make a speech about the history of the inn. In a dream, I love history, which is strange. I'm like obsessed with it in the dream. Not obsessed, but I have a passion for it. And I love talking about history. It's another recurring theme in my dream that's different from my real life. So she says, what do you want to do? And I say, well, I could change my mind then, and we'll do it. We'll welcome them. My wife laughs with relief. Then that part of the dream ends, but then I had another one. Again, winter 1770s. This part of the dream is different because I'm not in it. So I'm very interested to learn more. But Kirk and Leslie are in it. Kirk comes in and asks Leslie out on a date. She's cleaning and waxing the floor. She says, you're Kirk something, right? Because it's a joke because he couldn't even figure out his name. He asks her out once and she says, no, thank you. He says, what about food? No, thank you. She says, I'm busy. Then he says, what about a date tomorrow night? She gives a long explanation, most meandering explanation I've ever heard but it takes her minutes to describe that she's in a wedding, maid of honor at a wedding. And that's tomorrow night. And he says, can you get out of it? And she says, she just ignores him because it's so tonally different. And then I'm back in my office. My wife comes in. She's in a gray sweater with flying turtles on it or something. They're red. I'm reading a letter. I'm not listening to her. She's talking about, I can't even remember. And the letter is from the history of the inn from the winter of 1775. It has bawdy prose in it. It's a letter to Annabelle, who once ran the inn. And the inn was a place where people would come to slow dance and learn slow dance only. What would have been called like the forbidden dance. That's not slow though, lambada or something. This is just slow dancing lessons. The tender affection, the dance of the tender affections. And that in winter 1775, independence, people working for independence, forefathers of independence, I guess you'd say, came here to slow dance. Maybe the great-great-great-grandparents, that could be them, but I don't know. And then it's the night of the event. Leslie's handing out hors d'oeuvres in our like a main room is full of the daughters of independence. Or they're just the daughters of slow dance. The inn looks great, by the way, at this point in my dream. I'm dressed up in a suit, a three-piece suit with a vest even, gray, a tie. I have a speech prepared, but I'm not sure I should give it. George has set up a podium, a brown podium. George states the obvious, sometimes he states the obvious like it's a mystery. He has a shirt on. I'm not sure if it's flannel or not. I don't know when flannel shirts started being a thing. He has what do you call those? Not like a shirt, undershirt on. I go in to make a speech. Everyone there is excited. The daughters are excited to have me. And we start, they introduce me. It's the second half of their meeting. They say, this is the person he's going to talk about the winter of 1775. The leader, she has a giant, what is it, corsage on, yellow corsage, ribbons and flowers. And I want to give everybody a warm welcome. Dick Loudon. Everyone claps and cheers for me. I head to the front of the room. The room looks beautiful. Dark wood paneling, paintings. Behind me, a ship, a model of a ship. Nathan Potter built this in 1774, I say. Similar to his home in Stratford, England. But he didn't get to live here. And his family moved to Boston, where Mrs. Potter had relatives. And then it got passed on, and I try to skip over the part and jump to the 1800s. But I'm interrupted. And they say, you jumped over the winter of 1775. That's what we're here to hear about. And because in the back of my head, I see not everybody, this is a world where people are unsure about, slow dancing is so personal. And they say, we know our relatives were here in the winter of 1775 and they had a wonderful time. And I say, oh boy, I'm wearing reading glasses too. I wear reading glasses in the dream. So I say, okay, they say, we want to know about the winter of 1775. We're not worried about anything else at all. Very clear communication. And at first I'm still hesitate. I say, well, if you're going to make me talk about it, but sometimes you don't want to know what you don't want to know. He goes, there's a lot going on. Stuff that, there's a song about WAR, what's it good for? Absolutely nothing. Plus lousy winter weather where you have to stay inside and spend time indoors and pass the evenings. And they say, what are you going to say? And that's when I can say, well, are you sure you want to know everything? And very clearly the woman with the not a boutonniere, right? It's a corsage. She says, what do you know, Loudon? And I say, okay, well, here's the thing. In the winter of 1775, people were working on independence. They were tired. They were spending a lot of time away from their families. And sometimes I wanted to pass the evening slow dancing. But they needed dance partners to dance with. Guilty feet got no rhythm. It wasn't true in this case because their feet weren't guilty. Their feet just needed to dance slowly with partners to dance with because they were away from home. And everyone's stunned. But I tell them, you know what? It's really not something stunning because this dancing meant a lot to these people away from home. As a matter of fact, there's in the future there'll be a musical about this. It'll put it a lot more interestingly than I'm putting it now. And there'll be a song about there'll be songs about it that are it would give context to slow dancing. Because if it wasn't for the slow dancing that took place in this inn, maybe they wouldn't have had full hearts and lighter feet, felt the relief of a slow dance and the comfort it brings people. People from New Hampshire and Massachusetts even came here to slow dance. And everybody starts to get their spirits up, all the listeners. And I say, America wouldn't be America without this inn, maybe. And so I tip my hat and I say, well done. And everyone cheers at my speech and is joyed, and they gather around me and they celebrate me. And they're clapping. And then my wife comes in and she's impressed. She goes, what did you say? And she says something about, she's the one who says guilty feet got no rhythm, right? And I say, no, silence. And then normally at the end of my dreams, I watch a recap of my dream, with scenes from my dream. But that's pretty much my dream. Okay, well, I'm glad, thanks, Robert. And, this is our first meeting. So normally we try to stick to 50-minute hours, even I know this is a different context, but let's run through some stuff together, okay? And we'll talk about different approaches here. Now, I'm not an expert, I'm not a dream expert. So I'm going to be using what is called artificial intelligence to interpret your dream. But then I'll base my interpretations off of this. This is only going to be a start, though. So there's Freudian analysis, which, according to this, my assistant here, is unconscious desires, conflicts, repressed emotions. In that case, the inn could be a place of rest on your life journey. Might even identify, this is so obvious. So an idyllic or idealized version of life you might want to be living. And that need for repairs, right? This first dream's kind of, I guess you could interpret. I'm just giving you the tools to interpret it yourself. It could be underlying things that need to be fixed. Though personally, I don't believe in fixing it, just believe in adjusting. And I guess maybe, not to jump ahead with my own interpretations, but maybe that's why George is a good part of your dream. And maybe your frustration with George. I guess I'm already going off topic, but that George is really the sign that things don't have to be fixed in the traditional sense. But maybe in areas needing attention, right? In needing repairs. Now, if you're George in this Freudian analysis, then you could maybe feel some inadequacy, or frustration, maybe an inability to accept help. Or is there something that's not feeling manageable? Now, you kind of putting your worries on your wife, especially around money, that might be like the idea of taking risk, or deeper stuff with loss or failure deep down. And, you had your own mixed emotions. And, that could be just mixed emotions. This new phase in your life in the dream, it could be a new phase. Maybe there's work to be done. Maybe there's feelings. So we'll do that. Now we could jump to the Jungian. You don't need to correct my thanks, Bob. But Robert. Okay, so Jungian. We'll talk about archetypes, collective unconscious, individualization. Oh no, I don't know. I'm just reading and interpreting from this interpretation. So the N could be a symbol of transition or a new phase, a little bit repetitive, this information I'm getting. Now, the repairs part could be the process of individuation, where you're integrating different aspects to yourself, personal growth, inner work. Now, George, as I kind of said earlier, maybe a shadow self. I don't necessarily agree with this interpretation. George could represent your feelings of inefficiency or inadequacy that you must confront or integrate. And so maybe that's integration. And then what you're dealing with, where you're projecting your fears onto your wife, could be your anima. That's your inner feminine aspect. And that could be a practical vocalization and representing some of the emotional aspects of a new phase in your life. And then the mixed emotions you have in the dream maybe is a tension between your conscious desire for growth and excitement versus, the underlying things keeping you back. Now, there's a contemporary modern dream analysis, according to this, it's just various theories. So new venture, maybe you're undertaking it together with your wife. Maybe there's real life things outside your dreams, or maybe you just need thorough preparation to overcome obstacles. There could be the repair person, George, could represent external factors or people who are not reliable, or your own self-doubt. And then the stuff about the money and your doubts you projected onto your wife. I like how you said that, though, because it kind of does seem true to me, too. That could highlight, stuff that you're thinking about and potentials, and then how it would impact your relationship with your non-dream wife, your daytime wife. Now, your feelings could be optimism and desire for growth, and then the opposite. So let's look at the door next. I don't know, that might be all we have time for, unfortunately. But let's see what the door comes up with the door. My associate is getting to me right this moment. So with the Freudian one, the door could be a symbol of transition or entry into a new stage of life, opportunity or a barrier. Now the sticking door, that's resistance. Could be repressed emotions, though, Bob. Hello, you have a dream wife. But I'm not. Oh, did I mention I'm not an expert at anything other than talking to you in an imagine? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, why'd you use a 50-minute hour then? Well, just because I got I got other work I got to get done. But the sticking door could be resistance, repression, unresolved stuff, things hindering your progress. The same thing with the Jungian, but you could be that could be about your journey of self-discovery or accessing deeper aspects of your psyche. And it could be challenges into your individuation process, the sticking door, integrating parts of your unconscious, or maybe even facing aspects of your shadow self. And, the modern thing, transition, new phases, something you're trying to achieve, the sticking door, real life obstacles, frustrations, stuck or hindered, And I think, as we get to know one another, Robert, we'll learn more about this. But I think this is good. I mean, I think you're on the transition and you've the richest dream life I thought, not to make it about me, Robert, but I thought I had a rich dream life occasionally. But this is interesting stuff. This sounds like rich, loamy soil to explore. And I think this is a perfect opportunity. This is a new form of invention I'm inventing where, you'll just go from here and we'll just keep this professional. I mean, even though I don't have this, I'm not doing this as a profession. And I just want you to only bring your dreams into this room. The Robert, whatever your name is, out there or back, We'll keep that Robert there, and I'll just work with the Dick from now on. So maybe you could even talk to me and be Richard or Dick Loudon, spelled like London a bit. Okay, well I'll learn, and I'll learn more, and we could work together. It's almost like you're dreaming, dreaming of this. So I'm glad we got to spend some time together as you rest. I guess you'll be like, rest and then we'll give it some time. And come back with another dream in a couple weeks. We'll meet again and I hope to be helpful to everyone involved. Oh, by the way, people will be listening to this to fall asleep too. I think you knew that though. That's why this is, so freeform. So thanks, Robert, and thanks everybody, and good night. All right, I want to thank everybody who recently became a member of Sleeping Mate Plus and supports the show directly. Jenna, David, and Nicholas. Thank you, thanks, good night. Tasha, Candace, and Larissa. Thanks, and good night. Maria. Jack and Simon, thanks, and good night. Candace, John, and Mukta, thanks, and good night. Zarly, Ann, and Carrie, thanks, and good night. Emil, Elaine, and Laura, thanks, and good night. Abigail, Jess, and Judy, thanks, and good night. Amelia, Dan, and Christina, thanks, and good night. Dennis, Michael, and Steve, thanks, and good night. Elizabeth, Grace, and Abigail, thank you, thanks, and good night. Stephanie, Karen, and Belinda, thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody who supports the show directly. That's how we're able to be here twice a week. It's because people support the show directly or support our sponsors. But if you want to support the show for free, a great way to do is spread the word about podcasting in general or join our referral program and refer people to the show. And get rewarded. sleepingmatepodcast.com/refer, R-E-F-E-R. Thanks. Everybody, it's Scoots here. Time to tell you about tonight's sponsor, the bed I sleep in, Helix. Take that quiz at helixsleep.com/sleep and get matched with the perfect mattress for you and the way you sleep. I've been on the road a lot this summer. I've slept in a lot of different beds, even really nice hotels. And nothing comes close to my Helix Dusk Lux. And that's because I took that Helix quiz. I sleep on my side. I sleep on my stomach. I like to have some of the cooling features. And that's a bed I got matched with. And I picked the Helix Dusk Lux. And every night when I climb in bed, I'm so thankful. But it's about you, right? And the way you sleep. That's why Helix designed this quiz. It just takes 2 minutes to complete because the Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses. They've got the award-winning Luxe Collection, Ultra Premium Elite Collection. There's the Helix Plus. That's a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers. There's a Helix Kids mattress for growing bodies that's endorsed by child sleep experts. But you take that quiz, helixsleep.com/sleep. Find out what the best mattress is for you, the way you sleep, your body, or you and your partner can take it together and get matched with that perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. That personalized mattress will be shipped straight to your door, free of charge. And Helix knows there's no better way to test it out than by sleeping on it in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new Helix mattress. They have plenty of different mattress models to choose from depending on your sleep position your feel preferences. There's models with memory foam for pressure relief if you sleep on your side, models with responsive foam to cradle your body for essential support in stomach and back sleeping positions, enhanced cooling features to keep you from overheating at night, and every Helix mattress has a hybrid design combining individually wrapped steel coils in the base with premium foam layers on top. Perfect combination of comfort and support. Like I said, when I took that quiz, I got matched with the Helix Dusk Lux. I've been in love ever since. I love my mattress. And not only is it the best mattress I've slept on, but the setup is fast and easy. Helix mattresses are delivered in a box straight to your door for free. Plus, Helix mattresses come with a 10 or 15-year warranty depending on the model. Don't want to take my word for it. Helix has been awarded the #1 mattress pick by GQ and Wired magazine. Even recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as a go-to solution for improving sleep, and Helix is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep. That's helixsleep.com/sleep. This is the best offer yet, and it won't last long with Helix. Better sleep starts now. Thanks, everybody.